We're back. Hi, we're back with the Advocates for Medically Fragile Kids of North Carolina YouTube channel. This is Dania, Alessandra, and Jenny, and we're here to address some news reports that have been out recently with misinformation, conflicting information, and confusing headlines that you may have seen and been bewildered by. And as well as some back and forth between DHHS and the North Carolina House of Representatives about how to move forward with the proposed 3% and 10% Medicaid cuts scheduled to take effect October 1st. We're here to hopefully break apart, debunk, and explain some of this misinformation and rumor, and arm you with the correct information to continue to advocate regarding this issue, because advocacy is still necessary to secure Medicaid funding for the next fiscal year. So Jenny is going to talk a little bit today about a screen grab we have here of a recent news report that is an example of some of the confusing headlines and information that doesn't accurately represent what is currently happening. Jenny?
Yeah, thanks, Dania. Obviously, Medicaid cuts are concerning to everybody. And so when this article, for example, came out, or this story came out, it sounded really encouraging. Maybe the Medicaid cuts weren't going to happen. And that, so you can see I've circled at the very top where it says that Medicaid cuts are halted. And actually, if you read the headline here, whoops, excuse me, don't know how to draw a circle. Um, that DHHS ordered North Carolina lawmakers to postpone Medicaid cuts. They can't do that, by the way. Now lawmakers can appropriate more funds to pay for Medicaid, but without that, these cuts are going to continue to happen. I think the real story may be more here, where it says the leaders of the North Carolina House of Representatives have instructed the state's Medicaid program to suspend its cuts, suspend its plans to cut reimbursement rates and services in October. So we've got that Medicaid cuts are going to be halted, which we know they are not. We've got that DHHS ordered the lawmakers to stop it. And then we have the House of Representatives have instructed the state's Medicaid program to stop the cuts. So we've got conflicting information here, very confusing. So that's why I wanted to come on and let you guys know that, it's September 1st. We have 1 month exactly until these Medicaid cuts go into effect, and they will go into effect, unfortunately, if the North Carolina House of Representatives and the North Carolina Senate don't pass a budget that fully funds Medicaid. That's just so incredibly important. And know we've talked about that in the past, what Medicaid cuts could mean. And that's even beyond our population of medically fragile children. One of the cuts is to no longer cover GLP-1s for weight loss. That's for anyone on Medicaid. That's not just medically fragile children that it's affecting. Cutting providers means not just physician rates, but that means nursing homes, facilities, your DME companies, your nursing agencies, your therapy centers, every single provider. So not just your physicians. But the most physicians are going to get between an 8 and 10% cut. That's a lot. Like we still have private practice physicians that without fully funding Medicaid could risk going out of business. and even ones that are working for health facilities, if it's affecting pay and the health system's ability to fund all the different clinics that they have. I am personally very worried that we may lose some providers that continue to take Medicaid or that continue to stay and provide services in North Carolina, and move to a state that is less hostile to physicians and better funds their programs. Um, so I think where we are is just a reiteration of the call to action from a week ago or however long ago it was, that we do have to continue to contact our representatives. You can send a letter every day, multiple times a day if you want, through our system. We'll include the link where you can send the pre-written letter, and it finds your representatives for you and just sends that automatically with your address. It knows where it needs to go. So I don't know if you guys have any other questions about that we didn't get into that you feel like we should address.
I wanted to jump in and add one more thing. I thought it was interesting, the back and forth between Secretary Dev Sangvi and the House of Representatives is kind of puts DHHS in the seat where they're saying, oh, the North Carolina House of Representatives is saying, hey, let's suspend, we're going to suspend the cuts for now. Don't implement these cuts. But what Dev Sangvi is saying back to them is really, really important to understand. And that's, we have to implement the cuts if you are only making a promise for more money. So it's not that there is a an actual real monetary incentive for DHHS to stop implementing the cuts. There isn't. There's only a promise because there's only a mini budget. They haven't passed a full budget. And so responsibly, Secretary Sangvi is saying, without an actual budget where we can count on the money coming, we have to have our budget, which has to go and be implemented and be in place in October. We have to have a budget for the whole year. And if we don't have actual money, we only have the promise of money, we've got to go on what we know. And so it's really important to recognize that that's actually a really responsible way to run DHHS. And that what appears to be kind of like this conflict, which seems to elevate the House of Representatives, that they're, white knighting, oh, stop implementing the cuts. That's really not, they're not backing it up with actual money. And I think that's a really important piece to understand. And then the second thing that also that Jenny brought up is, 3 million people rely on Medicaid. And even if you personally are not one of those 3 million people, which is a lot, you utilize the resources that those 3 million people utilize. And if their payments into the healthcare infrastructure are lower than what is expected, then the healthcare infrastructure is going to suffer for everyone. That means the facilities, the providers. So we are all going to suffer whether or not we are actually receiving services and insurance from Medicaid. We are part of the system because Medicaid is such a strong funder of our entire infrastructure in North Carolina. So we're all connected. So we all have to stick together and really fight these cuts because it's going to bring all of us down if we don't fight back and let them know that we understand that and understand the interconnectedness of all citizens in North Carolina.
That's
Very much so agree with that. Yeah.
definitely important
Um,
that you bring that up, Dania. As both Danny and Jenny have mentioned, which is really important, is the information that is conflicting and misinformation creates a false sense of hope within the community. And that false sense of hope then drives a backing down and keeping the pressure on and keeping the momentum for the advocacy, as well as when information is not conveyed accurately, there's this misunderstanding that there is a choice. Our secretary has a choice. He have a choice to halt the cuts or not? And that's why it was really important that we wanted to get this information to you, because there really isn't a choice. And we can't be led by false hope. So we need to keep the pressure up.
yeah. One thing I just wanted to add when we were talking about the budget, we hear so much about government spending that's often on the federal level, but at the state level, departments are required to run a balanced budget. So it really is not a choice for Secretary Sangbai either. He has to implement these cuts because he's not been given the money that's required to fund it. And he can't just run a deficit, like you both pointed out, until the promise comes through. Um, it has to be run on budget right now or starting October 1st. So, yeah, let's not back down on the pressure, contacting our representatives, and hopefully we can get this thing turned around. I will say, I think that messaging that's going out, like we looked at, is a sign that they're not comfortable with the cuts for sure. Um, and they are getting a lot of pressure from different groups. And so we just have to, like you said, Alessandra, we can't think that we can sit back now because the work is done. It's not. So we just need to keep pushing forward. And I'm optimistic that we'll get there. Um, but as a realist, nobody knows for sure. So,
Right. So what we'll have is in the top comment, you will find in our top comment a link to our website, as well as a link to a video that we made a little while ago last weekend that we published on the NC Medicaid funding shortfall. So a link to that video explaining how much is the shortfall and what is the reality is more than what you are being told and led to believe. So what no one is telling you about, go and have a look at that video, learn about the actual amount and the actual number. And also in the top comment, we will have a link to donation. So our commitment is every child, every family, and one community. So please donate and support our movement and our cause and our commitment. We'll also have a link, most importantly, in the top comment to where you're able to go directly to your senators and also to your congressmen and advocate. Please click that link. Please share that link, and as many times a day as you possibly can. It won't be enough. Oh, and subscribe to our channel.
yeah.
Subscribe to our new media channel. And why do you want to do that? Well, because you'll be getting lots of updates like today, and you'll be getting more information as Jenny gets more information, as we come across more information. And please comment in our comment and let us know what you would like to hear from us, what you would like to know more about, what you would like to learn about. And we are going to respond to those and do whatever we can. And as we said before, this is also a greater outreach that we are launching so that we can bring you more and offer you more and give you more support, more information. And we're planning some fun things too. So you want to be notified. So subscribe.
Definitely, definitely. Thanks, you guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.